Alright guys, today we are going to be playing with physics. So, just going to kind of start off by creating a little ramp here. So in my landscape tool, I'm going to go from sculpt to ramp, and let's create just a little one like this right about here. And I'm just going to click add ramp. And now if I hit play, you can see we have this ramp here. Looks good. Let me turn that volume down a bit. Okay, so let's put a ball on there. So I'm going to just take a sphere here. And no, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to basic shapes and just put a sphere. There we go. Let's make that a little bigger. And I'm going to give that a material that is a little easier to see. Let's go with a yellow ball. And let me get my light source. Just type in light source here. Let's just rotate it a little bit so we can see this a little bit better. Not that one. There we go. Alright, so right now if I hit play, I'll just play from here. Nothing happens with this ball. I can shoot it, nothing happens. So what we need to do to get this to move, to enable physics, is we need to click simulate physics. And now watch what happens. And you probably already knew this. Now there's some interesting things we can do with physics. First off, if I shoot this, you'll see that I can kind of control its roll. And that's because each projectile has a little thing called an impulse. And if I wanted to, I could put an impulse out here. At least I thought I could. Okay, I guess an impulse can only be done through blueprints. But there are some physics actors here that you can include, and I'm not seeing them right now. Huh. Thruster. That's weird. I don't know if they've changed things or what. But impulse, thruster. Thruster, I guess, you can attach it to an object, and it will apply a force in that direction. So that's kind of cool. But let's not get into that just yet. So I guess the next thing I want to talk about is what can you do with this? Well, first off, in your world settings, you can adjust gravity. So we can have a world where there is no gravity. This thing, you'll see that it just goes like that. Now, you can make a settings that would make it slow down over time. That's called linear dampening and angular dampening. So if I were to set these to 1 and then shoot it, you'll see that it'll stop over time. But if you wanted it to act like a planet, you would set that to 0. So let me reset those. Going back to the world settings, let me turn gravity back on. And by the way, you could also make it like 10 times gravity. You can adjust that, or have it be like the moon where it's like 0.1 or whatever. And now I'm going to turn on friction. I'm going to increase the friction. So let's move this guy down here a little bit. Let's hit play. And you'll see that when it goes down here, it just continues to roll. Now I could adjust the damping, to cause that roll to stop. But I can also increase the friction. So if I go up here and I search for friction, oops, I'm in the wrong box. If I can go here and search for friction. Oops. Okay, I'm not seeing friction. That's weird. Okay, I guess that's going to be on to our next thing, where I'll talk about friction. And that would be creating a new physics material. So let's say that you want to apply these same properties to many, many different objects. If you go into materials and textures, no, I guess not in there. I guess under physics, you can create a physical material. So let's do that. And I'll just click here, physical material, click select, and I'll call this bounce. And I'm going to apply that to here, to this ball. And if we double click on it, you can pull up these properties, and here you can adjust the friction. So if I were to adjust this to, let's say, 10 and then hit play, what should happen is as soon as it gets down there, it should start to slow down pretty quickly. Let's increase that even higher. Let's do 1,000 and let's hit play. And still not seeing any difference. I don't know. Nothing ever works when I try to show you guys something. Let's try like a billion. See what happens. Come on, stop rolling. Okay, well maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but let's just keep that at 1 for now. You can adjust the restitution, which is its bounciness. Let's see if this hopefully works. There you can see it's bouncing a little bit more. Let's set that to 100. Oh, I didn't even save it. Yeah, this should bounce like crazy. And it's not. Am I not applying this? Bounce. Save. Oh, it got set back to 1. Huh. Oh, that's right. What restitution 1 is the max. That's the most bouncy you can get. So if I were to set that to 0, you'll see that it will not bounce at all. Okay, so something actually worked. That's good. Let's see here. Density is going to be how much material it has in it. So the higher the density, the less likely it is going to be moved by me. I'm going to have less of this to kind of push it around. If I set the density to, let's say, add a few more zeros, hit save. This is going to be an incredibly massive object, and I shouldn't its movement at all. Although I'm a completely rigid body, so I guess that does not work either. But you can see my bullets, no effect on it. And if I were to put an object in front of it, let's say another sphere, I'll just go over here and type in basic sphere. Let's put that thing right there. And let's put physics on. Simulate physics right here. Now let's watch what happens when these two impact each other. And I missed. Okay. Right about there. The heavy object should completely obliterate the other one and just and push it aside like it's nothing. But if I were to switch this, and let's say that under our physical material we change the mass, the density to 1, and we change this, and you can do this also here without using a physical material. You can just override the mass. Let's say that the mass is 10,000. And when these collide now, it should just, you can see that that one doesn't move very much. If I shoot this one, whereas if I shoot this one, it doesn't go as far. So you can play around with mass, physical materials. You can also play around with destructible materials, which can be fun. And destructible materials, it's kind of confusing. They got rid of it because it actually costs a lot and it takes longer for the game to load. But you can go over here into your edit plugins if you want to enable it, and it's under physics. You can just check apex destruction, and that will allow you to do that. Other than that, let's see here. This is called a static mesh actor, and this is let's see here. This is the static mesh actor right here, the sphere itself. So if I click on this, this is just the actual mesh, and it's a static mesh because it doesn't move. If I wanted it to move, I'd have to make it a skeletal mesh. But one of the things you can also do that's kind of fun is I can take these two and make one a parent and one a child, and watch what happens. So these guys now, oh, I'm sorry, I have to disable physics for this one. I'm like, something again is not working. So you have to have physics enabled only for the parent, but watch what happens now. Okay, that was exciting. Let's push this one over here. I think that'll work a little bit better. Alright, here we go. So now you can see that they move in unison, in tandem. So if I were to start messing with this, it's like they have a pole between them. So they will work together. So whatever happens to one will impact the other one. If I shoot this one that way, you can see that its brother, its parent, starts to join it. You can also do this with a physics constraint actor, which is also pretty cool. So I'm going to take these away from each other so they're no longer parent and child. How do I get this out of here? Detach. There we go. So I put a physics constraint actor between them. That's not between them. Here. Oh, goodness sakes, that thing is out in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes it can be a little tricky to move things in this program. Let me just try that again. Physics constraint actor right there. There we go. That's much closer. And I'll put it right between these two. Okay, now that it's between them, more or less, I'm going to, these little eyedroppers here allow me to pick which objects want to be part of this little group here. So I'll pick that one with the eyedropper and that one. And now watch what happens when, oh, now I have to re-enable physics on this one. And now watch what happens. They also move like they did before, but the joint, it's like a joint between them, which means instead of being like a pole where there's no sort of flexibility, now I can actually kind of push them together, and you'll see that they react a little bit more like as if there was like a tube that was flexible. So they'll kind of like get closer and farther. They're still joined, but more like by a rope, let's say. And you can adjust the constraints and how much it constrains them. If we go under our physics constraint actor, you can adjust things here, like how much resistance there is and that sort of thing. Getting into destruction and how this one got exploded, I'm not really going to get into that yet. Again, it's a little complicated, but I think if that's something you wanted to do, just know it exists and you can Google how to do it. So let's see here. I guess the only thing, to talk about is that there are what's called soft bodies. So if I look up soft body Unreal, I can just kind of show you some pictures. This is what a soft body does. It's an actor that can kind of bend and mush around and stuff. And again, I'm not going to get into how to do that right now, but if you are interested, just know that if you have a need for bouncy things that smush around, or cloth or something, you can create that. Cloth is a different one, which again would just work like cloth. It would be able to be influenced by wind, and you can see how it looks here. And you can put clothes on people that kind of move around as they walk. This is a rigid body, which means it does not smush. So, and then as far as impulse, again, I'm not quite sure why they used to have that there. I could add in the blueprints an impulse, but I don't think you guys want to take the time to watch that right now. But again, an impulse would just be what pushes it. So when I shoot it, this impulse is what causes it to move forward. You can't even see the bullets, but just trust me, the bullets come out. As soon as they hit that, it pushes an impulse, which is just a little jolt in the other direction. Alright guys, I think that's about it for now. Sorry it was a little confusing, but alright, that's it.